Hello there, everybody. A bleary-eyed Adam Cleary here, having just watched WWE Money in the Bank 2018, and hooey! Boy gosh darn, isn't there a lot to talk about. First of all, thank you very much if you watched our live stream. You legitimately give me reason to live, but if you didn't, well, it went down like this. First there was all ooh, and then there was all then there was all ooh, then there was all meh, then there was all eh. It's kind of like the story of every pay-per-view we've had this year. Really a mixed bag. But that's the thing about Money in the Bank, isn't it? It comes at a slightly weird time in the calendar year because not a lot's really happening because WrestleMania's all finished and we're just starting to build towards SummerSlam. And what we get in that show, the centerpiece that we now get two of, is one little device which allows them to tell possibly a year's worth of story off the back of one match. Sometimes they have 50 minutes with it. I think Kane was the record, 48 or something. Sometimes it's literally done that night, but sometimes it lasts a year. So the possibilities for a Money in the Bank pay-per-view are both interesting and endless. So without further ado, and so I can get the bleep to bed, my name is Adam Cleary and this is Money in the Bank, What Went Down. So we started with Daniel Bryan making Big Cass submit after about 15 minutes in what was, to be honest, quite an interesting match. Now that leaves their series at 2-0 to Bryan. Doesn't really feel like there's any more story to tell, so that's presumably over. If it is, then just like the match itself, it was fine, I guess, but I don't really see how it benefited anybody. They're both going to move on to something else now, and Bryan doesn't feel that much bigger a deal for having beat Cass, and Cass's big shock monster return has now fallen at the hands of a man half his height. Bit weird. Next, we had the internet's first gripe of the evening when Bobby Lashley pinned Sami Zayn with what you can only describe as a very, very cocky pin. He basically just put his hand on his chest and that was the end of it. People hated that, didn't they? Because they like Sami Zayn, but that's not the problem. Zayn is a heel. Zayn is a weird, arrogant heel, so you can totally take the piss out of him when he loses. The problem has been that this feud is really, really bad, and the match itself was completely formless and made no sense, and again, neither man really benefits, really gets anything out of this. Zayn got demolished by a massive wrestler, and a massive wrestler demolished Sami Zayn, so meh. Then Seth Rollins retained his Intercontinental title against Elias in a move that stunned absolutely nobody, but just for the tiniest moment in that match, and it was a good match, I should say, but for the tiniest moment, you just thought Elias was going to do it. Like, the crowd was so behind him, and the match momentum was going all over the place. There could just be something big in Elias' future. He's still not had that great match yet for me, but this was really good. And yeah, people really want him to do something, so he's probably going to get buried to holy hell after this. Oh, and Rollins cheated. Rollins literally cheated. He had the tights, and he's wearing his old heel ring gear, so don't know, maybe there's something in that. Next, we had the second ever historic once-in-a-lifetime number 2 women's Money in the Bank ladder match, and just Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch. You're so much better than this, aren't you, Becky? Why don't you just come home? Why don't you come home and we'll get the train one afternoon down to that nice little seaside town you like, and we'll go to that fish and chip shop. Remember the fish and chip shop? We'll go to the fish and chip shop and we'll ask the nice man if he'll deep fry us some quinoa. Then we'll have a walk down the waterfront and stay there, people watching, until it gets too cold and we have to go back inside, and we'll just look at each other and we'll just see our old lives reflected in each other's faces, and we'll just know that we're finally happy. Also, yeah, fair play, Alexa Bliss won. Her character development is now absolutely perfect for someone to hold the briefcase and be a terrifying, could win the title at any moment heel, and, well, yeah, we'll get to that. And yeah, other than that, every single woman in that match looked absolutely brilliant, and the match itself was, I'm just going to call it, match of the night. Well, almost everybody looked great. Natalya was dog eggs. Next, Roman Reigns pinned Jinder Mahal. I know, couldn't believe it myself, but the only interesting thing about this match, as Andy Murray has just pointed out to me, was that this was the death spot. Like, after the elation, the high energy of the women's Money in the Bank ladder match, whatever immediately followed that in the middle of the show is the death spot. And WWE deliberately sent Jinder and Roman out there to die in front of that crowd, which is really, really odd given how much time and effort have gone into the pair of them. Maybe the tide's just turning on them both. After that, Carmella pinned Asuka to retain the SmackDown Women's title, meaning Asuka now has 2 pinfall losses on her WWE CV, and it's to Charlotte, arguably the single best woman in the company, and Carmella, who, up until a few weeks ago, was a novelty character. But this worked for me. I really liked it. It made sense. The match was quite good. It was structured well. Carmella genuinely came across as being quite a imposing and devious heel and didn't make Asuka look weak for the amount of punishment she was taking. Plus, that ending is pure pantomime WWE gold. James Ellsworth's back. In case you didn't know, he turned up in an Asuka mask, which was hilarious, and then he removed the Asuka mask, winked down the camera, and that was the end of it. It was really good. Elsewhere on SmackDown, the men's world title also didn't change hands somehow again because AJ Styles beat Shinsuke Nakamura in a last man standing match. Now, I have feelings. Were it not 5 a.m. in the morning, I would ask Phil to insert the footage right now of us all watching the Rumble together and realizing that Nakamura versus Styles was going to happen at WrestleMania. Like, finally, the talent they had in the company was going to be properly put together. Finally, we were getting the kind of match we really wanted to see at the kind of level at the card it deserved to be, and just the hope and expectation we had for this feud. I would like to show you that, but it is 5 a.m. I know you can't be bothered, Phil. So, yeah, it was just like this. And since then, we've had 4 matches, none of which really set the house on fire. So the WrestleMania one was quite good. This one tonight was actually really good in parts, but these are 2 of the most talented guys the company's meant to have, and we still just haven't seen anything. Really, any match that really blew your mind, any finish that really came out of nowhere, and it's just been a giant disappointment, hasn't it? We have to accept it now. It's 4 matches. They're done. They've done the whole balls thing. They've done the whole kicking each other in the balls thing. They've done the last man standing match, and the last man standing was AJ Styles. There's nothing. He's got no challenge to answer from Nakamura now. He has to move on and do something else. And we just have to think about what a complete letdown it was. It was like, Wilborn said this, it was like your dad finding out you smoke and making you smoke every single cigarette in the packet. Now, you want Styles Nakamura, do you? You want these 2 great wrestlers? Well, we'll give you all the great wrestlers you can handle and you'll be sick. And I am sick. It's over. Forget it. It's done. Bye. Roman. Bit of good news, though, and I would like to say that most of the card itself was good news. I'm not actually down on the whole thing. Ronda Rousey versus Nia Jax was, in my humble opinion, absolutely excellent. You've got 2 incredibly inexperienced workers in this ring, and somehow it was short, but it was really good. Ronda looks like, I know they present Nia as a monster, but Ronda looks like a force of nature. They had a couple of little slips here and there, and I think overall it probably should have gone for a little bit longer, but the bits that had to look really good, the memorable moments, all by and large, looked excellent. Ronda did a roll down off the top of Nia into an armbar, and it was just so smooth. Like, wrestlers train for years and years and don't get that smooth. They've really got something there, you know. I hope they use her right, because tonight wasn't using her right. Tonight was just throwing her in at the deep end for the sake of a high-profile match, which we all thought was just so they could put the women's title on her for when she got inducted into the UFC Hall of Fame. But no, it wasn't. It was a giant swerve to give Alexa Bliss the women's title back. See, I told you, she was absolutely perfect for that briefcase, even if it was incredibly short-lived. You had Ronda Rousey, arguably one of the deadliest women on the planet, and Nia Jax, the most physically imposing specimen on the women's roster, and then Alexa Bliss, all 5 foot and out of her, comes in with a briefcase, lays them both out, and walks out the champion. It's a waste of the briefcase. I mean, they had it for far too long with Carmella, so we should have had a better run with it now, but this was a brilliant cash-in for it. It was a great moment. It gives the women's Money in the Bank briefcase its first genuinely, really exciting moment. It was great, that. Big fan. And finally, in something that I'm presuming was done specifically to annoy me, Miz did not win the men's Money in the Bank briefcase. That's why it's called a Cleary's theory, not a Cleary's fact. It's merely just a collection of the evidence presented as I see it. Can't get them all right, can I? But history will obviously prove me to be a clever, genius man. Anyway, Braun Strowman won it in what was, a really good match, actually. Having 8 men was great. They didn't overdo the New Day. We thought we'd put all 3 of them in, but no, it was just Kofi, and he was really good in it. Owens is dead now. I presume Balor must surely be building to some kind of story where he's just WWE's nearly man. He comes so close to getting everything and just doesn't, so that was really good. Enjoyed that. Samoa Joe looked pretty good. Rusev even found himself to be useful. Bobby Roode felt like he mattered, which was really nice, but they've given it to Braun Strowman. Why have they given it to the one man in the entire company who doesn't need a briefcase to look like he's going to win a title? He's going to cash in on Brock, and it's just going to be 2 huge bits of skin throwing a briefcase at each other. Like, in the moment of the match, with the way the finish was, you thought it was going to be Balor, and then you had Kofi on Braun's back, and you thought, shit, could it be Kofi? Could it be Kofi? But it wasn't. No, it was Braun. It was Braun. And in the moment of the match, you were like, wow, that's really good. What an exciting finish. And then as soon as it was over, you were like, what? So yeah, where they go from here on any front is anybody's guess. Alexa now kind of owes Ronda a rematch, which I will pay top dollar to see. I mean, I won't. I'll put it on company's expenses, but you know what I mean. Roman and Jinder have to do something with their lives. So too do Daniel Bryan and Big Cass. Nakamura and Styles have to find something. Dear God, whatever they do next has to be absolutely massive, otherwise what hope is there for any of us? So yeah, overall the company just feels like it's in a much better position than it did a few hours ago or yesterday, whenever you're watching this, and that's the whole point of Money in the Bank. It's this giant reset button where things can either be carried over for a while or things can just be done entirely, and well, that's the thing. If this is it, if this is a lot of things finishing and ending and finally dying, then it's a good pay-per-view with solid matches that gave us closure and excitement. It's good. But if a lot of the stuff we saw tonight isn't the end, if we're getting more of these exact same matches going forward, then, well, let's just say they've got a bit of a problem. So yeah, that was Money in the Bank 2018, and if I'm being completely honest with you, I was a fan. Yeah, I liked it. I had a bloody good time, and hopefully you did too, because what else can any of us ask for but a bloody good time? And yes, that was what went down, and the next thing going down is going to be my head on a goddamn pillow. But while you're here, why not hit the subscribe button and check out all the more sick content we're going to get off the back of this in the next few days, and watch one of these two videos. Phil's going to pick this one as a special treat, and this is my Cleary's theories about why Miz was definitely winning Money in the Bank. So you have a good old little tittle at that. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, whether you join us on the stream or you're just watching here, and until next time, my name has been, and I guess still is, Adam Cleary. I'll see you soon.